This is my beautiful brand new 2024 Ford F-150 Lightning Flash. They call this color Avalanche. I love it. It was built at the Rogue Electric Vehicle Center in Dearborn, Michigan by the fine folks of UAW Local 600. It has an absolutely glorious 580 horsepower. When you hit the gas, you get there fast. It's got a 131 kilowatt hour battery, which EPA estimates say you should be able to get 320 miles of range with. Not a chance. I've been getting 1.8 miles for every kilowatt hour, which means my realistic range in the truck with my style of driving is only 235 miles. So I did a 3-year lease as an experiment. I hope I never have to buy another gas car again. The internal combustion engine was an amazing revolution for humanity. I give it its kudos. I am done with it. The number one reason I want an electric vehicle is the maintenance. Oh my goodness, the oil changes, the transmission flushes, the this, the that. Every time I go to the dealer, they see my sucker self walking in. They're like, yeah, get him for 1,500 bucks. How much can we get him for this time? As you may know, I had a Ram ProMaster van for the past 5 years. That was my daily driver. It's got 125,000 miles on it. I blew the engine around 70,000 miles, full out of pocket $17,000 replacement. It's enough to drive a man crazy. Yes, something is bound to go wrong on the vehicle, but all things being equal over the life of ownership, as long as the battery doesn't totally crap the bed, I think you get out ahead with the electric vehicle. And we'll see. I'm gonna go for 3 years. I'm gonna keep you updated on everything. Every dollar I spend on this thing, I'm gonna try to keep track of. I really wish I would have kept track of every single dollar I spent on my Ram ProMaster van. I am sure I was north of $80,000 into that van. I'll be lucky to sell it for $20,000. Okay, moving on to this thing. Another big reason for me to switch to electric is fuel costs. Over the past few years, I had been averaging 500 bucks a month in gas in my van. 14 miles per gallon, $5 a gallon gas. It added up quick. But of course, gas prices have actually dropped quite a bit since I got the truck. And this thing is not the most aerodynamic or efficient, which is fine. I can deal with that. And electricity prices in California are crazy. I have PG&E. My off-peak hours from 12 midnight to 4 p.m. are 30 cents per kilowatt hour. Almost the average across the United States is 15 cents per kilowatt hour whenever. And then some people, I'm sure people in the comments are like, oh, I've got 4 cents per kilowatt hour. If you've got 4 cents per kilowatt hour, it's like $5 to fill up this whole truck. Oh, get an electric vehicle. At my electricity rate, it's about $40 to go from 0% to 100% in this truck. And I've got the slow charging at home. The electric dryer plug charges about 30 amps, 7,000 watts. It works out pretty good where you can set it and forget it overnight. It'll fill up. And then it's about 60 cents per kilowatt hour around the Bay Area at a fast charging station. I've been to a bunch of them now. It's actually kind of cool to fill up quick. The Tesla supercharger stations are the best, and I can take the truck to the Tesla supercharger stations. The more modern ones have a longer cable, so you're not blocking multiple stalls. I haven't been to the older ones where you have to park in a weird spot, but so far so good. And it'll cost you probably $80 to go from 0% to 100% at one of the fast charging stations. But realistically, you're not gonna sit there for like 2 or 3 hours. Even though it's charging around 150 kilowatts, once the battery starts to get filled up around 80%, it goes a lot slower. Another huge piece of the puzzle for me personally with this truck is that it becomes a giant, silent, portable power station. It's like 70 Blue Eddies put together. It's got a 240 volt, 30 amp plug in the back, which can power your house pretty dang good during a storm, during an outage, probably for a couple days if you're not running the air conditioning. A normal F-150 can do that as well if you got the Pro Power onboard package or a gas generator. It's just much nicer than gas. You don't have to hear it, you don't have to listen to it, you don't have to go get gas. And the real pie in the sky thing for me and my inner prepper is that idea of having solar panels, having batteries, and you just generate your own electricity. You are actually energy independent with this vehicle. But I know if you're only paying 10 cents per kilowatt hour in your neck of the woods, it's very, very hard to justify doing the panels, doing the batteries, but something to think about. I've also got something for you to think about if you're suffering from cramps or headaches, a general tiredness because of a lack of electrolytes. It's Element, the fine sponsor of today's video. The Element thesis is out with sugar and in with salt. They believe that most people, especially active people that get out and sweat a lot, need more salt in their diet, not less, to perform and feel their best. I've been doing my New Year morning routine with a pack of Element first thing to feed my body the sodium, potassium, and magnesium before I get a workout in. It's a great way to start the day because it's so much harder to stay hydrated in the winter. If you're outside in the cold, you don't get as thirsty. If you're inside and the heater's going, you're getting dried out. The Element mission is to restore health through hydration. It's stevia sweetened, zero sugar, fantastic tasting, and extra salty. I am pretty dang good with my hydration routine, but there are still times where I start feeling a headache coming on, dehydration knocking at my door. I make sure I pop a pack of Element, and my success rate with knocking that headache out is quite amazing. If you give it a try, I really think you're gonna like it, but you are taking zero risk with your first taste. If you order it, you get it. You don't like it, send them an email. They don't need you to send it back. They'll give you a refund. You're good to go. I have tried so many electrolyte drinks over the years, and finally, Element is the one. Tastes great, keeps me fired up, doesn't make me twitchy, doesn't mess with my stomach, and doesn't have a half a pound of sugar. Head on over to drinkelement.com/BKXC. If it's your first time, put in an order for citrus salt. And if you're using my link, you'll get an 8-pack sample pack. So once the citrus salt comes, you try that, but then you can also try all 8 different flavors. It's a new year, it's a new day, it's a great time to get your hydration dialed in. Head on over to drinkelement.com/BKXC. So there's quite a few electric trucks on the market now, the Chevy Silverado, the Hummer, the Rivian, the Cybertruck, but all of those trucks are right around the $100,000 mark if you actually outfit them with the stuff you want, where this was $72,000 sticker price. And right now it is a buyer's market for this truck. Demand has fallen through the floor. They were marking them up crazy when they first came out. So like I said, this was a $72,000 sticker. I got a $2,500 dealer discount. I got a $1,000 off pop-up that was on the website. I got $1,000 EV holiday cash back for some reason, $2,000 bonus cash. I got $2,000 off because I drove a Ram ProMaster. It was Ram Conquest cash, they call it. And then I got $1,000 off for the Ford Power Promise. If you have an electrician come out to your house, they'll pay $1,000, or you can take the cash. So that's like $9,500 worth of discounts. The final price ended around $62,700 at Ford of Fairfield. Shout out to Noah there. If you're gonna buy a Ford, go to Ford of Fairfield, talk to Noah. It was a pretty dang good experience. Everybody hates the dealership thing. Ford of Fairfield actually does it a little bit nicer. Not as nice as Tesla or Rivian, where it's just one price and you click buy and you're done and they deliver it to your doorstep, but all told, not bad. I did a 3-year lease at 18,000 miles per year, which is like 50 miles a day. As long as I don't go over that, we're good to go. I did 0 down, and my payment ended up being $758 a month, $698 a month plus tax. And the funniest part, it's been a few weeks and I haven't paid $1 for the car yet. Noah was like, oh yeah, Ford will email you and you can set up your payments then. All right. I also switched my home and auto insurance from AAA over to Geico. We're saving $100 a month on the insurance. We raised our deductible quite a bit, but we were paying $280 a month for insurance. It just kept going up and going up and going up, and we didn't change anything. So we changed over to the Lizard Company. And the reason I did a 3-year lease instead of buying this truck is I really am optimistic about technology and where everything's headed. And in 3 years, we might be a lot further down the line with battery technology and all kinds of technology, full self-driving technology, that this might be pretty outdated after 3 years. So not my problem. I'm gonna rent it for 3 years and give it back. And it's also a little bit of a hedge if I didn't like the electric vehicle experience. I could tuck my tail between my legs and go get a Mazda Miata. I've got almost 500 miles on the truck, and so far the honeymoon period has been fantastic. It's smooth as hell, it's fast as hell, it's everything I wanted in a car. Especially compared to the van and my wife's RAV4. No more rattles, clanks, and bangs while you're driving, and supposedly the 2025 model is supposed to be even more smooth. I don't know how it could be more smooth. I've even got the off-road tires on, and I can't really tell a difference between the stock factory tires and these ones. I got the Falken Wild Peak AT4 tires. First thing I did to the truck so I can go drive up to the snow without having to poop my pants. I am probably the most scared, timid snow driver, scarred from doing it a few times. And hopefully this truck is gonna get me over the hump. It's gonna be exposure therapy to get through it. One of the biggest and best features on this truck and any car that's been produced within the past 3 or 4 years is real deal adaptive cruise control. It steers for you and it adjusts your speed depending on the person in front of you. Adaptive cruise control requires you to keep your hands on the wheel for it to work, which in theory is fine, but in practice, it's not just touching the wheel. In my brother's Toyota, you can just touch the wheel and it's fine, but in this vehicle, you have to kind of tug on the steering wheel every 15 seconds, 20 seconds. It actually annoys me so much. It turns you into like a compulsive OCD freak where you're like, huh, is it time? Is it time? Is it time? But of course, if you upgrade to Blue Cruise, $50 a month, then you can take your hand off the wheel and it'll drive for you. They give you a 3-month trial of Blue Cruise with the truck. It's only highway driving in designated highways that they've mapped out, I think, with their own system. Right now, I don't think it's worth $50 a month, maybe eventually. And whether you're doing Blue Cruise or just the normal adaptive cruise control, the truck likes to hug to the right side of the lane a little too much. We passed a couple trucks on the highway that were like, oh, geez, that's crazy. I also find it kind of strange when you're Blue cruising around and it deactivates, like it says, hey, take over. There's no chime. There's no like beep, 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 like thing. In a world of endless chimes in your car, you think a little ding dong when you need to actually take over the steering wheel would be appropriate. And another thing, the Flash model, you can't use your phone as a key. You have to have the real key, which I don't mind too much until you lose the key. I think I had 2 key fobs that came with the truck, but it's always nice to have the phone because you always have your phone. Like the keys get strewn about sometimes. Oh yeah, I didn't talk about how the Flash trim is that perfect mid-level sweet spot. So the fancier trucks are the Lariat and the Platinum, but on this Flash level, you get the heated seats, heated steering wheel, bigger battery, and the nice speakers. But the trade-offs aren't that bad. Cloth seats, no back window that opens, no sunroof, and no light bar on the tailgate. That would have been actually kind of cool to have. So a few other random things. The back seat is quite nice and big. You can fold these seats up, plenty of storage, full outlets. You got USB-C charging, cup holders, luxury, kind of, sort of. Everything in the interior feels quite nice. You've got Apple CarPlay. I don't think the Rivian or the Cybertruck have that, which is, it's so nice to have Apple CarPlay, all your music, all your stuff you know and love. I'll tell you one of the biggest surprises about this truck that I love so much, my wife does not get car sick in it yet. We went on a trip to Point Reyes and did some pretty twisty tight turns where normally she would not be feeling so good if I was driving the van or the RAV4. And in this thing, she did pretty dang good. So let's hope that it's a nice smoother ride and we don't have any sickness. So it's my first EV, it's also my first frunk, a fantastic, lockable, safe space with real deal power outlets, USB, you can charge stuff. If you have power tools, you can charge them up on the job site. I met a guy at one of the Tesla superchargers that does landscaping, and he has a microwave in the front of his truck so he can heat up his burritos for lunch. You go spend your $359 on groceries at Costco and they all fit right here. So I'm very interested to see how much I spend on the truck, fueling it up over the next year or 3 years on accessories and all that. I've actually already spent more than $2,100 on accessories. The first $206 I spent was on the Tesla charging adapter. Then I spent $115 on Husky floor mats from Amazon. The 4 tires were $1,444. Some tow recovery straps for $62. And then to get my 240 volt dryer plug up and running back at home was $170 worth of material. I also ordered some Ford OEM mud flaps for front and rear, and I actually had points in my Ford Pass app, so I only had to spend $20 instead of like $120. So I think I covered all the angles I wanted to cover. There's plenty of other lightning videos out there. I kind of just wanted to do my version. But if you have a question or a comment, let me know. I will address it on the next truck video, where I will be taking this thing on a one-way trip, a real deal road trip from my home up to Everstoke. We got to go 204 miles, climb like 7,000 feet at least, through most likely frigid temperatures. Let's see how the truck will handle it. But until then, it's cold out here. Let's fire up the heat in the vehicle. Do me a favor, go drive somewhere new, and maybe I'll see you on the freeway.